What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Professor X with Professor X Perspectives. Hope everybody's having a good day. I want to respond to a question that was asked me, and I apologize because when the question was asked, I didn't write it down in my notebook, so I can't remember exactly which video that it came off of. It might have been 3 things that I learned, or it might have been the 4th thing, but on one of those videos, I must have talked about how I grew up in a 2-parent household. And somebody in the comments had asked me, what do I feel attributed to me growing up in a 2-parent household and yet not having things together when I got married. And what they're saying is, a lot of times, people that come from a single parent household, you can expect them to have, some issues going on, some unresolved conflict that's going on. But for the most part, those who come from a 2-parent household, and a good one at that, let me say that, because just because you come from a 2-parent household that stayed together, I want to clarify that. That's why I'm so thankful for you guys and ladies that respond in the comments the way that you do, because you help bring even more clarity. When I'm speaking from my experience, my life, my perspective. So I'm just talking to you all. But then there's people, which I appreciate, that would say something like, or they may be talking to somebody else, but I'm reading it in the comments, that just because you come from a 2-parent household doesn't necessarily mean that that environment was healthy. I agree. So let me say that I came from a quote-unquote healthy, far as I know, a healthy family environment. When that question was asked, I didn't know the answer then. It's probably been about a week. And I've been thinking about it little bit by little bit by little bit, because I'm like, man, that's kind of weird. That's kind of strange that I came from the type of family that I came from, and yet going into the marriage, you would not have been able to tell on my end the kind of family that I had came from. And just to lay some background here, for those who don't know, I was raised, my mom and dad's been together for 48 years. I got a brother and I got a sister. We was raised very conservative, Pentecostal, apostolic. And I mean very conservative. Like, we didn't have a TV. Let me fix that. Check this out. We didn't really have a TV in our home. They had like an 8-inch black and white that they would keep in the closet, that once a year around Thanksgiving, somewhere in the fall, I believe The Wizard of Oz would come on. And they would watch that like every year. And it might have been one other situation, but maybe twice a year that thing came out. So from the time that I can remember, man, I was in elementary school, and back then I know we didn't have one because my dad had a radio that could pull up television channels, if y'all remember that one. Matter of fact, there was a wind-up, if y'all remember that one. You had to wind it up to give it the energy. And I remember on Saturday mornings, they would let me use it for about an hour, maybe 2 hours, back when the Jackson 5 had their cartoon. So I was able to listen to a couple of cartoons Saturday morning, and then they would that was just on the radio. So I grew up very conservative. My mom and dad were not hypocrites, as some families obviously can be. I'm 48 years old, going all the way back into when I was a child to now. I've never heard my dad use foul language of any kind, and I mean even stubbing the toe. I've never heard my dad swear of any kind, ever. Never heard my mom do it. My dad was very much of a disciplinarian, but he was not, and depending on your views of what that means, we from the old school, so I don't know what we can't say on YouTube, but y'all know what that means. If you got in trouble back in the day, the belt came off. And, they tell you this, I love you, hurt me more than it hurt you. You put your hand in the way. They tell you, I'm not going to stop till you move your hand, all that. Those of you who've been around, y'all understand how that is. So, then my dad, of course, military, 82nd Airborne, go to the field, have to go out. I try to cut up because, of course, when the cat's away, the mice will play. My mom let me know as soon as your dad get back. I mean, she would discipline too, but she knew that by saying my dad, that would create a type of intimidation in me. He'd be gone 2-3 weeks. I think, when he get back, I saw his truck pull up. I'm running to the truck. Because I already knew, first of all, Dad's back. Second of all, he's going to have two things. He's going to have some extra MREs, which y'all don't know, that's the military rations. The food that can be dried out and packaged and stored and lasts forever. You add water to it or whatever and make it a meal. Back then my thing was the crackers with the cheese and the chiclet gums. So he was going to bring me that. And he was going to bring them glow sticks that you crack and glow. So me and my homeboys could go in the woods at night and play war and soldier and all that. Put them on the edge of a stick and act like we had some real artillery. So that's how I grew up. I seen my dad work. I seen my dad work hard. I never heard him complain. And I mean to this day, I've never heard my dad complain about work. I've never heard my dad complain. I mean, he just didn't, he wasn't the type to complain. He was what I considered a man's man. He was a soldier, and I was always proud of him. I mean, that's it. I've already shared stories of his wisdom towards me, and later on in the future, I would share more. So that's what I saw. I never saw my mom openly backtalk my dad. I never saw it. And I ain't got no reason to lie to y'all. I would tell y'all the truth because hopefully it'll be able to help somebody. I never saw it. I never saw my mom openly backtalk my dad. Matter of fact, I give you a story where we went to church was 30 miles away. So on Sundays on the way back, because we had to come back for night service, on Sunday mornings on the way home, that's back when Hardee's used to sell pork tenderloins, and they would have them on sale for 99 cents every once in a while. A little pork tenderloin like in a little biscuit. And we would be hungry, been in church 2-3 hours, we got a 30-minute drive. Of course, my mom had something prepared, but we'd be hungry still. We got a 30-minute ride. We 13, I'm 13, brother, sister 10, 8, whatever. So one time we was like, Dad, can you stop? And he didn't say nothing. And then, because we had to hit the interstate, he just gets on the interstate, keeps going, he don't say nothing. So we kind of, mumbled about it or whatever. And then my brother and sister went on, they were in the back seat, we all three back there. They went on laughing and giggling about something else. I was just sitting there. And when my mom thought that we was all distracted, I'll never forget, she leaned over to my dad and said, you could have stopped and got them those sandwiches. My dad never said a word. That's just the way he was. He's just a man of very little words, but very strong, very powerful man. And my mom leaned, and she leaned over, said it, and sat back up, just like that. The next exit we got to, my dad pulled off and went back. I never forget it. That's how I was raised. I saw my father, even to this day, take care of my mom. I'll jokingly now say to him, Dad, let me hold $1,000. I'm just joking. Dad, let me hold $10,000. He'll laugh. He called me Bud. He say, nah, Bud, your mom want her bathroom redone. You know, a year later, 2 years later, I say, Dad, let me hold $50,000. I know you got it. Nah, Bud, it's almost time for us to pay cash for your mom's car. That's what I know. My dad took care of my mom. So how did I grow up in that environment and then get married and drop the ball? And the only thing that I could come up with, for those who understand and can catch it, is this. Remember I told you that my mom and dad and my brother and sister, if I didn't mention them, were all true to the faith. They was real believers, real Christians. I mean, they're praying they're praying every day. I'm coming home at 1 in the morning after I should have been at 11. I broke curfew. There's no cell phone. They don't have my pager number. I'm coming home at 1 in the morning and my mom's downstairs praying, asking God to keep his hands on her son while I'm out in the streets. But they were true to the faith. Now, because I try to think about it, my brother and sister, when they got married, my brother got married at, I believe, 20 as well. And my sister got married around the same age, and they both have celebrated over 20 years of marriage. And when they got married, they was both, they had not been with anybody intimately, and neither were their spouses. So they both married as pure as you can be. And then they married their spouse who was also in the same way. Of course, like I said, if I didn't say it already, even though I had to go to church and I was raised in the church, and I took a liking to the Bible, which made me study the Bible all through my life and go on to get degrees and things in biblical studies, living that kind of life at the time was boring to me. So I never internally picked up on the spirit of Christianity like my mom, dad, brother, and sister. I never did. However, I knew what the expectation was, so I was able to live, quote unquote, a double life, because I knew to be accepted, I knew what it would have to be. I come in rocking Bobby Brown in the boombox. Back in them days, my mom on the meat tenderizer would have this little pallet. Ladies, y'all may know the name of it, but it had these little nudges on them, and you would hit the meat, pause, and flatten it out. My dad would say, didn't I tell you don't bring that, they call it worldly. Didn't I tell you don't bring that worldly music in here? Take this, go outside. If he couldn't find that, he'll give me a hammer. Take this, go outside and bring back the pieces. I'll have to go out back, smash it up, bring it back. smash up the CD, bring it back. So what I ended up doing was going to the pawn shop and getting old CDs and stuff that it wasn't even my style, let's say like country music. So that if he caught me, I would just take those CDs out and smash it up and keep my CDs like at my homeboy house. It was crazy. But what I'm trying to say is I never had the spirit of Christianity. I went to church because I had no choice. I enjoyed the fellowship. I enjoyed the people. But my spirit leaned more towards the streets. I was with the street boys. I was with I was with a certain crowd that wore certain colors and different things. That's who I wanted to be around. And the cool guys and the athletes. Like, that's who I wanted to be around. So as I'm growing up, it's the spirit of Christianity, even if whoever don't believe in it or not, I'm saying there's a spirit that comes with it that's very meek, that's very loving, that's very compassionate, that's very almost seemingly soft-spoken, right? I wasn't for all of that. The people that I was hanging around was way too aggressive for that. So to answer the question of whoever asked me, I feel that the reason that I was able to live in a household the way I did, but yet get married and it fall to pieces on both parts, but the part that I play is because I never had the true spirit that my mom and dad was exercising in their marriage. See, what allowed my mom to be submissive to my father and what allowed my dad to be submissive to my mom, and it worked because they both embraced the spirit of Christ. I'm going into a marriage with the image of Christ because I'm always going to church, but the real part of me ain't with that. I'm more of a G. And so and great questions, whoever asked. Man, you have put me into some thoughts, I'm telling you, because I realized even before I start this video that my ex-wife did the same thing I did. I married my ex-wife under image. This is what the church says your wife should look like. And she was very attractive, right? Been in church all her life. So I'm using the image of what the church says she should look like. I choose you. But that ain't, at the time, I ain't there yet. I'm just choosing the image of, and then so she's doing the same thing. She's looking at me. Oh, he studied the Bible. He know the Bible. He can help people with the Bible. He's a spirit. So I choose him. But that ain't really who I am. You see? And then a lot of people have talked about in the comments being on the same page. Now I realize how it's lining up. I chose image. She chose what she thought was real, but it was also image. And who she really, and so what I end up doing is marrying a woman that was more religious at the time than spiritual. Even though she wasn't a bad woman, again, the source, the spirit of Christianity wasn't necessarily there, but the rules of religion was there. Now, certain things she was or wasn't going to wear, no makeup, no, like that. So she had the rules down, but not the spirit of it. But marrying me who have the image of it, but not the spirit. So I'm marrying someone that I think is spiritual, but is really religious. And she's marrying someone that she thinks is spiritual, but is really a gangster. And I'm 20 and she's 18. And we're not using God at all, even though that's the way we was raised. Like I said, I understand not everybody believes in God. I get that. But I'm just talking about how we was raised. We was raised to put our faith in him, trust him, like, obey the scriptures. So, and that's what we're getting married off of, but we're not using it. Now we're married. She ain't using it and I ain't using it. My thought process is more of a G. And so that's why it didn't take long for the thread to come out of the sweater. we both married under false pretense. I was not what I looked like, and she was not what she looked like. Even though she wasn't a street person like me, it was just more of a religious understanding versus the spirit behind it. And I looked the part, but I was really street. And you can't put those two together under false pretense and think that you're going to have success, because guess what? If we're doing it in the name of God, in the name of Christianity, ain't nobody talking to God about nothing. So all our difficulties and all our problems, she has her way of handling. But guess how I'm gonna handle it like what I really am, which at the time was a G. I'll never forget. It wasn't that long into our marriage. Remember, we only dated 7 months, for those that didn't know. She said to me, "I didn't know you were so aggressive." And I'm thinking to myself, how could you not know? But now it makes sense. I didn't know that was how your personality really was. Because again, I had learned to live on both sides due to even being accepted in my own family. I knew I can't come in here with my flag on. I can't come in here rocking this music. I can't come in here wearing this attire. I can't come in here talking this way. I learned how to tone it down to meet the expectations of family. That ain't who I really was. Then as I got older, obviously I did recognize that I had done those things, and particularly once we started having issues, and then particularly once we got divorced, I realized what had happened, and that we both were bound trying to live a life that in essence we were not. So sorry for the long chat, but thank you to whoever asked me that in the comments. You have put me in deep thought, and it has been good to go down memory lane and try to figure it out. Let y'all takeaway be this: be who you are. Be who you are. Especially if you're talking about marriage and relationship. Be who you are. Because whatever you're portraying to be, the other person is picking up on that and is accepting that as who you are. Never heard people say, "Man, we was dating, then we got married and everything changed." I know it did. Because when you dating, you're really, it's kind of like you're putting at least you should be, you're putting your best foot forward. But it may not be who you really are. Who you really are may not be a person that always put their best foot forward. Then you get married and you stop putting your best foot forward because that's not who you was anyway. Then if the other person starts doing something that they normally have been doing in the dating process, but now no more because that's not who they were, look how fast problems can come. So anyway, hopefully this helps somebody. And again, let's talk in the comments. If this has helped somebody, if whoever left me that, would you say something in the comments to get my attention, just to let me know that it was you? I really appreciate that. And leave a thumbs up, y'all. Leave a comment. Again, thank y'all for supporting me. And love on somebody today if you get a chance to. All right, peace out.